Good morning, everyone. It is Friday. Thank goodness. It is July the 26th. We have all the news, all of the craziness, some weird stuff, mostly all weird stuff. You guys have been to the show. Good morning. Thank you, Wolfram and Squid Pro Quo, for doing the mod stuff. And absolutely, YouTube does sometimes unsubscribe you, so make sure that you are still subscribed to me and all of the rest of your favorite, content creators because YouTube can do that. And sometimes it be like that with YouTube. Good morning, Cynthia Fire Fairy, the Wicked Wookie, and Celestial Force. Well, we've got some big news. Apparently, the FBI didn't find it, but Gab, uh, president or CEO found an account of, the guy who took a swipe at President Trump. So that's a pretty big story. Generally, I wouldn't put political stuff in here, but oh my gosh, this is a huge story. Trump gunman Thomas Crooks likely had a Gab account that he used to support President Biden. So the CEO of the site says, "Good morning, Jedi Jess. The gunman who tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump appears to have used the controversial alt-right favored social media platform, read freer speech platform that everyone decided was scary and mean." So Gab was like Parler. There have been several iterations that have tried to make a sort of right wing Twitter. So you had Gab, you had Parler, and they haven't quite worked out. Obviously, Parler was blamed for January 6th, even though most of the communications for that went on Facebook Messenger. And Gab, I believe their only terms of service requirement or thing that they didn't want you to put in post was prawn. So there have been various things. Think of it at like threads or yeah. So it's not been a very good alternative. Uh no, not yet, Wicked Wookie, but I'm sure they're looking very, very hard. Uh In order to spread support for President Biden, according to the platform's founder, Gab CEO Andrew Torba said he learned Wednesday that Thomas Matthew Crooks, quote, may have had an account on our platform after giving an emergency disclosure request from a law enforcement agency. The account, Epic Microwave, which the CEO stressed it has been unable to confirm was definitely Crooks, posted on the site 9 times total. Torba tweeted just 30 minutes after getting a law enforcement request. While the account made very few posts on the site, a majority of them were in the support of President Biden. The CEO of the platform launched in 2016 as a completely free speech alternative to Twitter. A number of posts in particular express support for President Biden's panorama lockdowns, border policies, and executive orders. Interesting. So Gab uses the frog. Again, I barely know how to work Twitter, so I'm not on all of these crazy things. In one, the poster mocked someone sharing election projection, writing in February 2021, quote, "Didn't you think that Biden would lose in a landslide? Yeah, I would not be very confident in your election predictions," end quote. In another thread, the user defended Biden's border policies with a study that compared crime statistics for undocumented immigrants or legal immigrants and American citizens in Texas. Quote, "Biden's executive orders don't incentivize human trafficking as human traffickers aren't interested in citizenship. Likewise, the majority of illegal immigrants are not criminals. And in fact, some studies, such as the one linked below, show lower rates of crimes committed by these individuals," end quote, the poster wrote. So he was a reply guy to a lot of right-leaning commentators on Gab. Again, this is a very good sign that maybe the narrative of, oh, he's a Republican, which it is not uncommon. And again, in Pennsylvania, a state where you have to declare your party to run or to vote in a primary, well, you didn't have a vote in the Democratic primary, so you would have a lot of people voted for Nikki Haley in the Republican primary, but you had to declare yourself as a Republican. Well, Jedi Jess, he did get these talking points from mainstream media, whoever this person is. Fun Diane, that is confusing for a lot of people. So it's definitely looking like the narrative is falling apart as far as this guy, was definitely Republican and all that kind of thing. Now, I will keep an eye on this to see if they can get confirmation as to whether this was this gentleman's account. But I think a lot of us didn't think it passed the sniff test when they kept trotting out this, "He has no social media. He has no nothing." So, I do really think that we are going to find out more in bits and pieces, but from alternative media and not from any of your general sources. That's all the politics I'll get into today, but oh, that's so wonderful, Pernilla. Hi, all. I'm sitting on a train in Sweden on my way to see some friends I haven't seen for a long time. Well, have a wonderful, wonderful, safe trip and have a lot of fun. So, I I will say that I think that we're going to get more answers from alternate media, and take everything with a grain of salt, a pound of salt, an entire salt lick, because we are in the kind of fog of we are it, we can't see the forest for the trees. I do, if you guys like sort of honest reporting on the news, Sky News in Australia actually does a pretty good job reporting on American topics, which is odd. Now, I'm going to need all of my special assistants in the nuclear power plant for the next two stories. We need Deluxe Lord Chippy to, go through the initial launch sequence because what in the actual hell is this headline? Accused child rapist Jeremy Guthrie pulled over for a DUI with 6 kids in his car, claiming they're his friends. Y'all, this is uh, reason number 1112,000 that I could not be a police officer. Newly resurfaced footage shows the disturbing DUI arrest of an alleged child rapist who had 6 young boys and girls in his car, along with empty bottles of tequila and Fireball whiskey. We might need Cthulhu or the Kraken for this guy. Jeremy Guthrie was arrested last year in New Mexico uh, on a highway while driving erratically, and police discovered children, one of which he had allegedly raped and impregnated after meeting on social media. Okay, police officers, look, I'm just saying, body, ew, just, okay, this man, we're going to need to put the ultra slow setting on Lord Chippy. I'm just saying, for a friend allegedly in Minecraft. Police body cam footage from July 5th, 2024 or 2022 shows the then 41-year-old Guthrie driving across a highway, then behaving incoherently when stopped. When the police approached the vehicle, they were stunned to find it full of young boys and girls who Guthrie claimed were his friends, and insisting with slurred words, "They're all 18." Guthrie then proceeded to bomb a sobriety test. Who'da thunk it? At one point, Guthrie was baffled by the preliminary question, "Have you ever suffered a traumatic brain injury?" He was then cuffed and charged with driving under the influence, along with 6 counts of child abuse. Once booked, Guthrie was accused of raping a 12-year-old girl who was in the car. The girl had a miscarriage during a year of the abuse she suffered at his hands. The girl's twin sister was also in the car, who he had allegedly sent lewd text, and he is suspected of assaulting her too. He talked about how much he loved the sisters. Oh, hell no. Okay, Lord Chippy, meet your best new friend. Well, apparently 2 of them were 12-year-old twin girls. It makes me sick. I'm livid at what he did what he did to my granddaughters. The girl's grandmother told KRQE News 13. He's a very sick person. How did he get access to these kids? I don't understand. Guthrie is suspected of raping at least one other underage girl, according to the Albuquerque Journal. In the body cam footage of his arrest, he could be seen struggling to find his wallet after police asked for his driver's license. There's your wallet right there between your legs. You know, had you just taken care of the thing between his legs, I think we'd all be okay, happy. Finally handing over his wallet, Guthrie says, "Sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous and a whole bit, tanked and a whole lot of chomo." Once the police returned to the truck to speak with the kids inside, another officer began to ask Guthrie preliminary questions for a field sobriety test, asking questions as to whether he'd ever suffered a traumatic brain injury. Guthrie responded, "Possibly. How would you know such things?" "No, you are a traumatic brain injury." Then he asked whether he had any conditions that would affect his balance. Guthrie said, "Possibly." Guthrie was incapable of understanding the officer's directions to recite the alphabet H through S, and while counting down from 62 to 47, he skipped the 50s altogether and slugged away slowly to the 30s. Revisiting the alphabet challenge, Guthrie says, "I don't like that one." The open bottles of tequila and Fireball whiskey were both found in the car during the test. Satisfied with the evidence, officers cuffed Guthrie and put him into their squad car. The children's parents arrived on scene at the side of the highway to collect them. Shortly after Guthrie's arrest, the twin girls' grandmother informed the police that he had been assaulting them and abusing them for over a year. One of the girls told the police she had met Guthrie on Snapchat, according to the Albuquerque Journal, and he'd been regularly raping her over a lengthy time span. She said she had recorded at least one of the assaults and had been using cocaine, methamphetamine, and owned numerous firearms. Once behind bars, Guthrie did not relent. According to the twins' grandmother, he began texting one of them asking for money and claimed he used a prison guard's phone to do it. How are you going to get money from a 13-year-old? You absolute disgusting, gross. Okay, you are worse than a house in hoarders. Like, I don't even know that layer of crusty crap that you see on their. Yeah, who let him have a phone, and how in the hell are you gonna shake down a 12-year-old? Is she gonna give you her birthday money? You disgusting, immoral, gross, disgusting. I wanna get this body cam footage, but I don't think I would be able to, say anything without just a stream of curses and, general calls for things not allowed on YouTube. But, yeah, absolutely. And he's okay, the next guy in this story, or the next story, is not as bad, but, maybe Lord Chippy on Medium. A scummy FedEx driver steals a French bulldog, then leaves her in a delivery truck where she died in the scorching heat. What a disgusting a-hat. Like, it's not your dog. That's someone else's family. Why would you take a dog and put it in a hot van and let it die in the heat? You absolute piece of human filth. Allegedly. A FedEx driver is behind bars after he allegedly stole a French bulldog only to leave her behind in his sweltering delivery truck where she died, cops in North Carolina say. Kamani Marshall, 44, faces charges of larceny of a dog, possession of stolen goods or property, and cruelty to animals. Detectives with Harnett County Sheriff's Office believe Marshall swiped the tan and white dog named Tori, valued at $5,500, while on his route on July 3rd after the dog had apparently gotten loose. Then he continued to deliver packages. Investigators believe that Canine Tori died due to heat-related issues as she traveled inside the FedEx truck as temperatures were reportedly in the 90s, Sheriff Wayne Coates said in a statement. Officers recovered the dog's body on July 10th. Marshall and the dog's owner knew each other. Marshall asked the owner if she would be interested in breeding the dog, but she declined, Coates said. Marshall turned himself in at the Harnett County Detention Center on Monday. He has since posted a $50,000 bond. FedEx said in a statement that Marshall no longer works for the company. Quote, "We extend our deepest sympathies to the family on the loss of their beloved pet," the statement said. "We understand the importance of people's pets in their lives and deeply regret the pain that this has caused. The driver is no longer providing service on the behalf of FedEx." You know what? FedEx, you better deliver them a bucket full of puppies. I'm just saying, your driver did this, you better deliver them a bucket full of French bulldog puppies. I really don't care. But if you made a kiddo cry because you took their puppy, and I'm not sure, French bulldog, maybe there is no kiddo. If you made someone cry because you took their puppy, you owe them 2 puppies. That's just how it works. Mo's law is constant. It is clear in these things. It is written in deep magic. And I say 2 puppies for this family. FedEx, you better get really good ones too. The owner documented the frantic search for her dog on her Facebook page. She said that Tori had escaped the evening of July 3rd. "We were heartbroken, to say the least. Tori will never survive being out in the heat, so I'm hoping someone picked her up. Please help find Tori," she wrote. Tori had a microchip which shows someone had picked her up, the owner said. Cops contacted her on July 10th to say they'd found the dog deceased on the side of the road. She then told her Facebook friends that an arrest warrant had been issued in the case. Quote, "The FedEx scum was charged with 2 felonies and cruelty to an animal," she wrote. Dude, between you and the guy in the story before this, I don't know who's going to have a worse time in Gen Pop, because you don't hurt puppies and you don't hurt kids. And you better hope that no one finds out, either of you, you know, what y'all did on the outside. Because don't nobody like people that hurt puppies and kids. So God bless and may Gen Pop justice rule. Amen. Allegedly in Minecraft. YouTube, do not come after me. If I can't say things like this for this particular chomo, I don't know what y'all, nope. In better news, I guess, because they won't be remaking Facts of Life. Thank you, Jesus. If one show cannot be made, let's not remake all of the shows. Unfortunately, for Mindy Cohn, Facts of Life revival was ruined by one greedy co-star. There's drama among the cast members of the Facts of Life, and sadly, Miss Garrett is no longer around to solve the mess. Mindy Cohn, who played Natalie on the beloved sitcom, which aired on NBC from 1979 to 1988, said a discussed revival of the show was sabotaged by a greedy co-star, and it caused a rift between the 4 main stars of the show, including Kim Fields, Tootie, Lisa Witchell, Blair, and Nancy McKinnon, Joe. In an interview on Sirius XM's radio show Jeff Lewis Live, Cohn revealed that after a mini-cast reunion for ABC's Live in front of studio audience special in December 2021, at which 3 of the 4 cast members participated, Norman Lear, who produced the special as well as Facts of Life, asked if there would be interest in a revival. "I knew you guys were still popular, but holy hell, the response," Cohn recalled Lear, who died in December, saying after the special, starring Jennifer Aniston, Gabrielle Union, and others, was a hit. Cohen said she and her former castmates, who remain friends, have had many reunions over the years. Started to consider it. A writer was hired, and 4 women had a Zoom meeting during the COOF to discuss a potential project, but there was a betrayal. One of the girls went behind our backs and tried to make a separate deal for a spinoff just for herself, and it devastated the rest of us, said Cohen. For a 40-year friendship and sisterhood, there was a tidal of emotion around it. She agreed that with one of the podcast co-stars dubbing the nameless actress a greedy B word. Cohen said they didn't talk to the co-star for a while, and now they do a little bit. A couple people can't move past it. She said the project is very dead. We were united for 40 years over not talking about each other, not doing dirty, all for one for all. This kind of wrecked that, which is sad. Who's the greedy you know who? Cohen refused to name names, but people could probably figure it out based on her Instagram posts in recent years. Cohen has shared birthday tributes for McKinnon and Field, making Witchell the odd woman out. However, Witchell has posted birthday messages to Cohen and appeared on her podcast. Okay, so basically this is Mean Girls, well, menopause edition. Have fun with that. I'm sure it'll be great. Because Jedi Jess, they all have incredibly large egos, and someone decided that, again, what confuses me is that in Hollywood, she's expecting that people aren't on a side hustle. This is Hollywood. Have you not been in Hollywood? Let's look at the hairdo. It looks like you are on, menopause edition, maybe level 2. No offense, we're all gonna get there one day. Imma get there. That's fine. I'm just saying, there is nothing more off-putting and ridiculous to me than watching women in their late 40s, early 50s, maybe even 60s, acting like mean girls from high school. I'm like, "Wow, you guys must have energy or not much else to do." I don't have time for that. Yeah, and if we needed Golden Girls too, Betty White is gone, and I refuse. Anywho, looks like they'll never work together again, and we are spared one remake of a classic 80s show. And I think that's a win-win, really, for all of us. Sometimes the Lord works in mysterious ways. Speaking of working in mysterious ways, I didn't think the Russians were going to send a reality TV chef accused of being a spy to sabotage the Paris Olympics, but he was busted because he started talking when he was too drunk. You guys, I can't. What timeline are we in? Now they're sending what, Bobby Flay of Russia to to undermine the Olympics? I I am all the confusion. And what in the Davy Crockett is that jacket? And it goes, y'all, this timeline is hilariously absurd. A former Russian reality TV chef and suspected spy was nabbed in France after he reportedly bragged about an alleged plot to cause mayhem at the Paris Olympics during a drunken rant. I would have gotten away with it, but this wine, it loosened my what? Krilly, we're just gonna say Russian Kyle Grazanov. Uh, so Russian Kyle, 40, was arrested in his flat at Paris Sunday after multiple European intelligence agencies had been monitoring his movements for months, according to a French newspaper, Le Monde. French police said they found diplomatic material linking him to Russia's domestic intelligence agency, the Federal Security Service, upon searching the self proclaimed private chef's apartment at the French Interior Ministry's request. Are we sure we didn't find more jackets like that? I mean, I don't know. He looks sus as hell to me. Oh, never mind. You know what? How dangerous can this guy be? Gosh. Agents found evidence of a large-scale project that suggested that Grazanov was there preparing pro-Russian operations to destabilize France during the Olympics, according to French media. France, I hate to tell you guys this, but you all riot as a national sport. I think there's been like 2 or 3 weekends where you haven't had a yellow vest riot. I'm not sure that Russia's gonna do a better job of destabilizing France than you are, Jupiter Macron. I mean, just throwing it out there for a friend, but I think you're doing a wonderful job, Macron. You keep up at it. You'll destabilize your own country. You don't need help. You believe in yourself. Grasnov was charged with intelligence with a foreign power with a view to incite hostilities in France on Tuesday and is facing up to 30 years in a French prison. Several European intelligence services have been hot on his trail since May and began monitoring his movements closely. He's a patsy. He's the loud one you send in there so the quiet guy doesn't get caught. Allegedly in Minecraft. I mean, if I were a chess player, that's how I would play, but I play checkers and I never move my back row because I'm smart. In May, the alleged spy was traveling from Istanbul, Turkey, back to Paris, where he was barred from boarding his flight because he had too much to drink. He was then forced to make another flight from Bulgaria, only after stopping in a restaurant from where he called his intelligence handlers in Moscow, according to the outlet. He drunkenly boasted on the phone to his handler that the French are going to have an opening ceremony like no other, just 2 months before the games in Paris were set to begin, according to documents obtained by the outlet. Witnesses also claim he brandished his FSB identification during a booze filled pit stop, even told neighbors he was on a special mission to disrupt. Did they also try to get him to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer? I mean, this guy seems like he's all the smart. So, is he also on the docket to be charged with Whitmer's kidnap? Because, oh my gosh. You know, I mean, he looks less terrible in that picture, I guess. This led European security agencies to uncover his precise route to France and illuminate his longstanding close links with Russian intelligence services. Before moving to the French capital, Grasnov graduated with a law degree from Russia's Perm State University, then starred in the Bachelor-style show Choose Me, where he portrayed himself as a successful businessman and restaurateur. This led to an alleged spy gaining what was somewhat of a celebrity status in Russia. The alleged spy's Instagram shows he has over 100,000 followers. Grasnov has reportedly been living in France for 14 years at the time of his arrest. In 2010, he trained as a chef at the Cordon Bleu, one of the world's most prestigious culinary schools, and even appeared on a reality cooking show, according to Le Monde. He's like the most out in front of everyone public spy ever. He and James Bond, like you know exactly what they're doing, but I mean, I better hope he's charming or something because he doesn't seem to have subtle going for him. He doesn't blend, if you will. The following year, he became a chef at a restaurant linked to a Michelin-starred luxury hotel in Courchevel, a hotspot alpine ski resort for Russian oligarchs. In 2012, the suspected secret agent told his landlady he'd be returning to Russia for work for the government through emails seen in a joint probe. However, he was back in France in 2013 to take part in a civic training day, a mandatory integration step for those who want to become citizens. According to emails, he also has been linked to a previous career in finance with two Luxembourg-based firms, where he received confidential military documents on the Chechen war veteran Major Andrei Belshvoy. The then young lawyer would often receive requests to verify the profiles of intelligence officers for Russia. I mean, he's doing a great job at being super-de-duper sus, which has me thinking he's a patsy. Unless the governments are truly, truly hanging on to their, overarching, uniparty control, and this is the best they could find. I have a feeling he's a patsy. Again, I feel like he might be one of them Gretchen Whitmer kind of probes, like, I'm doing a super secret special spy mission. I mean, Far be it from me, but I think the KGB does a lot of background intel on, spies, and if they knew this guy was a drunk who couldn't keep a secret, call me crazy, but I have a little faith that they would not pick him as a spy. But, stranger things have happened, and that's what I think. He's the distraction, unfortunately. I hope everyone stays safe. I hope no one is planning shenanigans at the Paris Olympics, and, everyone stays safe, but I have a feeling he's a distraction. In the most important news of the day, we have found booze. Or divers discover 100 bottles of champagne in a 19th century shipwreck. I mean, any kind of science that includes finding booze is the kind of science I, as your president, will be glad to, fund. A team of divers discovered a 19th century shipwreck off the coast of Sweden that was loaded to the sides with historical artifacts, including 100 bottles of champagne. The shipwreck was discovered in the Baltic Sea, about 20 nautical miles off the Swedish coast, by a team of Polish technical divers from the group Baltic Tech. We encountered the 19th century sailing ship in very good condition, loaded to the sides with champagne, wine, mineral water, and porcelain. Uh, Biotech diver Thomas Strachura said in a press release this week. Strachura said it was difficult for divers to determine how much bubbly was aboard the ship, but confirmed they definitely saw more than 100 bottles. Interestingly, it wasn't alcohol that piqued the divers' interest, but rather the mineral water in the clay bottles. With Sakura said it was treated almost like medicine and only found its way to royal tables in the 19th century. Its value was so precious that transports were escorted by the police. Everyone likes their mineral water. Historians determined that the stamp on the mineral water, which hails from the German brand Steller's, was produced between 1850 and 1867, according to the divers, who has been in contact with the brand, which is still in business. The pottery factory into which the water was bottled also still exists. We are in contact with them to find out more details. When the team initially spotted the wreck via sonar on July 11th, they believed it was a fishing boat. We were already after one dive that day, and at first there were doubts whether there would be anyone willing to go down, before adding that fellow divers Mark Katchak and Paul Trzynski decided to take the now historic plunge. For now, the shipwreck remains in the Baltic Sea outside of economic waters, according to Statura, who is collaborating regarding the wreck with Marie Stella Myers Foundation, Stodtorn University, and Professor Johan Ronnby, who is in charge of all underwater research in Sweden. I really need to, I need to read these foreign articles before I actually read them to you guys, because I'm looking at names and I'm like, what is the O with the little dot supposed to sound like? What does Baker say? And then I was like, it's a grunt sound, right? It's like a, and I was like, okay, never mind. We're not going to try that. And Canada's her soccer coach has been sent home amid a drone scandal. That's right. Y'all, this timeline just keeps getting weirder. Just weirder and weirder. But for Canadian soccer fans, their female coach, Bev Priestman, has been suspended. The Canadian women's soccer team will now be without head coach Bev Priestman for the rest of the Paris Olympics. Canadian Soccer announced Thursday that after their 2-1 win over New Zealand to kick off the games earlier in the day, Priestman was suspended and sent home from the Olympics in the wake of their drone spying scandal. Assistant coach Andy Spence will serve as the team's interim coach throughout the rest of the Olympics. Though a Canadian soccer staffer was caught flying a drone over New Zealand's training earlier this week in France, which sparked the scandal in the first place. The issue has apparently been going on for quite some time. According to TSN, both the men and women's national teams have relied on drones and spying for years. They've apparently used them to film closed door training sessions of opponents during the women's gold medal run in the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo. And the following summer, they were attempting to qualify when they were attempting to qualify for the Women's World Cup. A Canadian soccer staffer, Joseph Lombardi, was detained by French police earlier this week after he was caught flying a drone over New Zealand's practices multiple times ahead of their group stage game on Thursday. French police searched his hotel room and found drone footage from two closed training sessions, which he told the police had helped him to learn the tactics of the opposing team. Lombardi was charged with flying an unmanned aircraft over a prohibited area, and he accepted an 8-month suspended sentence. The incident prompted multiple investigations. Lombardi and assistant coach Jasmine Mandler, who is Lombardi's boss, were both removed from the Canadian delegation and sent home as a punishment. Priestman self-imposed a 1-game suspension, and she was not on the sidelines for Thursday's win over New Zealand. I am ultimately responsible for the conduct of our program, Priestman said in a statement earlier this week, while saying she didn't have knowledge of the drone operation. Now Priestman is on her way home early. Canada won the gold medal in Tokyo with a win over Sweden in the final. The United States women's national team finished in third after they beat Australia in the bronze medal game. Canada will take on France in the next group play. Oh, thank you, Prunella. I mean, I guess I would have never thought to. Well, don't football coaches watch reels? I mean, I guess, is this different than watching reels of their old games? I mean, now I know you guys are going to be shocked, but most of what I know about football comes from The Water Boy. But it seemed like they watched a lot of films of the other teams and how they would react. I mean, I understand that a closed session practice is a bad thing to film. I'm just trying to figure out how that's much different than watching past games. I don't know, but seems like Canada has done the honorable thing, and I'm sure Justin Trudeau will be on camera to cry about it soon. That's kind of what I thought, but maybe the Olympics are definitely. Paris is like, no, there will be no cheating here. No cheating. Well, in New Zealand, it seems like there might be some controversy over an annual competition with cash prizes to unalive a highly invasive species. They're like devils on methamphetamine. You know, New Zealand, are you trying to become the new Australia? What the heck? A divisive event in New Zealand is sparking a debate over ethics of unaliving invasive species after including an animal that most cultures typically view as a companion instead of a threat. The Guardian reported that over 1,500 people, including 440 children over 14, participated in an annual North Canterbury hunting competition to target deer, pigs, ducks, possums, rabbits, and most controversially, feral cats. Feral cat. Okay, like I can feral cats do some good. I mean, but they can be a little cray cray. I will give him that. Event organizer Matt Bailey told the Guardian feral cats threaten the country's biodiversity and native wildlife as prodigious predators hunting endangered birds, bats, lizards, and insects, but also carry diseases that jeopardize the health of livestock. The feline category was introduced last year with an award of 500 New Zealand dollars or 296 for the most unalived and 1,000 New Zealand bucks or $993 for the largest one unalived. Okay, New Zealand. Wow. All right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I love dingus. I can understand that. I can see the cost of having your native flora and fauna desecrated, different things that have challenges, but you can't just catch them and, I don't know, put them and spay and neuter them and they will kind of take care of their own problem. I don't know. Uh, Apparently, they caught a record 371 cats in that year's edition. Hunting problematic species for cash prizes is a common tactic to control populations and restore wildlife balance. Organizations across the US have incentivized removing invasive and pest animals like northern pike minnows in the Pacific Northwest, silver carp in Tennessee, and Burmese pythons in Florida. You know, that is true. Maybe it's because they're furry and I love cats, but this sounds really wrong. Cats are first trapped to ensure that they are feral. All traps must be set at least 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles away from any residential area to protect domesticated cats. When the ferals are caged, it's pretty obvious, Bailey said to The Guardian. They're like the devil on methamphetamine. They will try to attack you. Furthermore, only adults can partake in the cat culling. They must use a minimum of a. Jesus. This is natural born killers for cats. They must use a minimum of a 22 caliber to make it humane. The event, which reportedly raised 60,000 New Zealand dollars or 35 or $35,652 American bucks for a nearby school. Okay, you know, hey, you guys, do you like that bouncy house? Well, I'm glad we got all them critters because we raised a lot of money. I don't know why this is this is just so weird. And I get that it's just because I love cats, and I have no problem with that. I have not the same I don't have the same feelings about the Burmese pythons. I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm okay. You can go ahead and take the Burmese pythons, but it's the cats." And I do think that they would have a better reaction if they just did what, you know, people have suggested, trapping them, spay and neutering them, trying to take care of the population growth that way. I mean, I don't know. And people, take care of your cats. Do not let them go feral. Do get them spay and neutered. I've got Mr. Dingus is going to get his appointment fairly soon, but just think about it. It just it's interesting. So the people that are for this tradition say that, definitely they want to increase. Well, true. It's because cats are fluffy and cute. Let's be real here. If Burmese pythons looked like golden doodles, we'd all be up in arms. But Burmese pythons can eat an alligator. So we're not there yet. In a happier news, since I thought they were going to be going after, I don't know, like wallabies or dingoes or whatever's over there. I didn't know they were going to be going after cats. Yet another problem when you don't read the article and I just read, you know, the title. Here's a better news though. Gizmo, the dog that went missing in Las Vegas in 2015, has been found alive after 9 years. There's Gizmo looking all handsome and cuddled. Judith Monarez crumpled to her kitchen floor and wept when the news arrived in an email. Gizmo, her pet dog, missing for 9 years, had been found alive. Uh, Judith was 28 and living with her parents in 2015 when Gizmo, then 2 years old, slipped past a faulty gate in the backyard of their Las Vegas home. The decade that followed brought a lot of change. Judith, now 37, moved into her own home, earned a master's degree in English, and began her teaching career in higher education. But through the years, Judith said she never stopped trying to find Gizmo. Now she was climbing into her car to drive across town to meet Gizmo at an animal hospital. Judith was later told that a woman had found the now 11-year-old dog and dropped him off at the vet, where they scanned his microchip, triggering an email notification that sent Judith to her knees crying. Within hours of receiving the email on July 17th, Gizmo was back in his owner's arm. Judith is calling it a miracle. Hindsight is 2020, she said. I'm so glad I registered his microchip. The reunion came at the same time a new Las Vegas city ordinance requiring pet owners to microchip their cats and dogs is set to take off on August the 1st. Judith said Thursday that Gizmo's first week back home has brought mixed emotions. It's clear, she said, that the 9 years they spent apart have changed Gizmo too. The 8-pound Chihuahua has grown afraid of shadows, heights, and birds. Gizmo now walks with a limp. Thank you, Obscure Destinations, for the super chat. And Wolfram, thank you for reminding people. Thank you for being a great mod, and thank you for all being here listening to the news with me. It's a great way to start my day. I love finding, the mix of stories that I find, and it's really a fun time to do this with friends. Let's see here. Even though he looked so different when I looked in his eyes, I immediately knew it was Gizmo, Judith said, recalling the moment they were reunited in the vet's office. And as soon as I said his name, he tilted his head and didn't stop staring at me. While Judith and her parents can stop thinking about what Gizmo might have endured after he went missing, their focus now is on addressing the health issues he has and showering him with all the love that we were holding on to for all those years. Aww. Absolutely. Wicked Wookie is right. A lot of veterinary clinics will do spay and neuter the day they offer their services at low or no cost for that day, and will spay and neuter all pets that rescue groups bring in that day. Yes, we have a clinic like that. I'll be taking Dingus to. He has a regular vet, but why pay the regular vet price when we have a very, very lovely, lower cost veterinary clinic? Oh, well, good idea. We can send pythons over to New Zealand and they'll take care of the cats. Good idea. I will have to look that up. Let me write that down, because in about 10 minutes, Mo will say, I remind him of Evanescence. Well, that's cool, but they haven't had a song in years. All right, my child has taken. I will have to look it up. In our final story, I think the world has been waiting on this ruling for years and years, but we finally have a ruling. Chicken wings advertised as quote unquote boneless can have bones, Ohio Supreme Court decides. It's been weighing heavily on us, can we have bones and boneless wings? And we finally figured it out. I'm done with my work here, you guys. I'm just kidding. Consumers cannot expect boneless chicken wings to in fact be boneless. A divided Ohio Supreme Court ruled Thursday, rejecting claims by a restaurant patron who suffered serious medical complications from getting a bone stuck in his throat. Did you chew? Did you chew? Were you like an alligator? Did you unhinge your jaw and put the entire spicy nugget in your mouth and then realize it had a bone? I mean, who does that? Michael Birkenheimer was dining with his wife and friends at a wing joint in Hamilton, Ohio, and had ordered the usual boneless wings with Parmesan garlic sauce when he felt a bite-sized piece of meat go down the wrong way. 3 days later, feverish and unable to keep food down, Birkenmeyer went to the emergency room, where doctors discovered a long, thin bone that had torn his esophagus and caused an infection. Berkheimer sued the restaurant, Wings on Brookwood, saying the restaurant failed to warn him that his so called boneless wings, which are, in course, nuggets of boneless chicken breast meat, could contain bones. The suit also named the supplier and the farm that produced the chicken, claiming they were all negligent. In a 4-3 ruling, the Supreme Court said Thursday that boneless wings refers to a cooking style and that Berkheimer should have been on guard against bones since it's common knowledge that chicken have bones. Well, they said a long, thin bone, so I guess it might have been a rib bone, but I am. The higher court sided with the lower court that had dismissed Berkheimer's suit. Quote, a diner reading boneless wings on a menu would no more believe that the restaurant was warranting the absence of bones in the items that believe that the items were made from chicken wings, just as a person eating chicken fingers would know that he's not being served fingers. I Oh, please, Jedi Jess, if you can find the opinion on this, it will be our shenanigans read on Sunday. I can't. I can't believe in a legal argument in the year of our clown 2024, a judge had to write, one knows when eating chicken fingers with a side of ranch that they are not in fact fingers of the chicken. Yeah, that's kind of my thought, Wicked Wookie, but apparently he's been paid off by Big John or Big Tyson. Big Chicken has gotten to this judge. Big KFC. The dissenting justices called Dieter's reasoning, quote, utter jabberwocky, end quote, and said a jury should have been allowed to decide whether a restaurant was negligent in serving Berkheimer a piece of chicken that was advertised as boneless. The question must be asked, does anyone really believe that parents in this country who feed their young children boneless wings or chicken tenders or chicken nuggets or chicken fingers expect bones to be in the chicken? Of course they don't. Justice Michael P. Donnelly wrote in the dissent, when they read the word boneless, they think it means without bones, as do all sensible people. True. It is a dumb name, but I'm and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court of Ohio. Look, appeal this up to the Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court. We need a ruling on if chicken fingers can be actually fingers of chicken and whether, chunks. Thank you so much, Jedi Jess. You are a magician. You are the greatest Jedi ever. It- so I can't, you guys. What is going on here? Between, we found his Gab account, the accused Chomo with a group of school children in the back of his car, drunk, the facts of life not getting remade, which, good. So let's see. Trump guy, they found his stuff, medium. Chomo got found, good. He had a bunch of school kids with him, bad. I know. I can't wait for the, oh gosh, amicus brief on boneless wings. I need this. I don't think you know what? Mercury has left. Mercury's like, I'm out. Y'all have blamed me for everything. I am no longer in retrograde. Y'all solve your own damn problems. I didn't do not a daggone thing. That's what Mercury's thinking. It's like, I'm gonna go head into the sun now. Y'all blame me for everything. What are you gonna do when Mercury's gone? When I've exploded into the sun, you're gonna blame something. Any hoozle, you guys. I'm gonna let you go. I'm going to try to get some newsy nuggets out today. They will attempt to be boneless, but it is the newsy news, so be careful. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I am looking at a new interrogation since we were so very close to the end of Mr. Business. And I think I have settled on Sarah Lazarus or Stephanie Lazarus. But it will be a great reawakening, and this woman is a spaz bigger than me, but it is an interesting story, and she is, all the crazy. So it will be a lot of fun, and I will see you guys then. Have a wonderful day if I don't see you, and start to your weekend, and I will be here tomorrow and around. So, make sure that you are still subscribed. Like Squid Pro Quo said, check your other creators because definitely YouTube has, well, I don't serve meat-free products. That's weird. I mean, well, chocolate is a meat-free product. Anywho, I'm going to leave now. Stop asking questions. You guys can distract me and I'll never leave. Bye, guys.